Master. Worldly people ask, why one does not get rid of the attachment to woman and gold? The attachment disappears after the realization of God. If a man once tastes the bliss of Brahman, then his mind no longer runs after the enjoyment of sense pleasures, or wealth, or name and fame. If the moth once sees the light, it no longer goes into the darkness. Some friends said to Ravana, "You have been assuming different forms for Sita." Footnote: during the period when Sita was kept in prison in his capital, Ravan used to visit her in various forms in order to court her favor. Footnote ends. Why don't you go to her in the form of Ram? Ravan replied, when I contemplate Ram, even the position of Brahma appears insignificant to me. Not to speak of the company of another man's wife. How could I take the form of Ram for such a purpose? All worship and spiritual discipline are directed to one end alone, namely, to get rid of worldly attachment. The more you meditate on God, the less you will be attached to the trifling things of the world. The more you love the lotus feet of God, the less you will crave the things of the world or pay heed to creature comforts. You will look on another man's wife as your mother and regard your own wife as your companion in spiritual life. You will get rid of your bestial desires and acquire godly qualities. You will be totally unattached to the world. Though you may still have to live in the world, you will live as a Jivan Mukta. The disciples of Sri Chaitanya lived as householders in a spirit of detachment. You may quote thousands of arguments from Vedanta philosophy to a true lover of God and try to explain the world as a dream. But you cannot shake his devotion to God. Footnote: according to the non-dualistic Vedanta, the personal God is as illusory as the relative universe. But to a bhakta, a devotee, he is real. Footnote ends. In spite of all your efforts, he will come back to his devotion. A man born with an element of Shiva becomes a jnani. His mind is always inclined to the feeling that the world is unreal and Brahman alone is real. But when a man is born with an element of Vishnu, he develops ecstatic love of God. That love can never be destroyed. It may wane a little now and then, when he indulges in philosophical reasoning. But it ultimately returns to him, increased 1,000-fold.